What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So I am working on the FC today. I plan on driving this around a little bit. So I was over at the junkyard and I don't know exactly where this car was, but they put a Crusher FC up front and it was a turbo too. I literally have no clue where this car came from. I mean, I've seen it before. I just thought it was crushed a long time ago. So this gauge cluster was in it, but it was all busted up because the dash was all busted up. Hopefully everything in this thing works. So we're gonna throw this thing into the FC and then hopefully I have temperature, fuel, boost, and oil pressure again, as well as the RPM, and then I should still have speed. This one had a few more miles than mine did. My car actually technically probably, that's a lot of probablys and technicallys, but it might have over 200K. So the cable, the speed cable probably broke a long time ago. So who knows how many miles this thing actually has on it, because it stopped at like 175 and it probably has at least 200. So I'm gonna throw this gauge cluster in, put the bezel from mine on there and see if everything works. If it does, I'll be really excited because I really wanted a working gauge cluster. But after we do that, we'll drive the FC around a little bit. It's already dark outside because I was working on the Magnum earlier. Oh man, boys, we have a working gauge cluster now. We have oil pressure, we have boost, we have fuel, we have coolant temp, we have RPM, we have speed. All the gauges now work. So what I'm gonna do is bolt it back into the dash, put the bezel back on, and we're gonna know exactly what is going on with the FC all the time. The other gauge cluster was probably just 100% cached. I mean, this thing sat for so long and got sun-baked to probably the electronics in it were just like, I'm done. So we now have a working gauge cluster. I'm super, super excited about it. Now I really won't have to be guessing what's going on with the engine. I'll actually know, I'll know what my RPM's at. I mean, I'm just so happy that I found a gauge cluster that was in a car that was about to be crushed and everything on it works. So one thing I need to do is find a new clear surround for it. I just got my collector license plate in for the FC, and I know I'm not the first person to have this collector license plate, but I have my license plate now and they're collector, so I don't have to get it re-registered until 2025. So 5 years. Pretty excited about that. Not even sure if I'll have this car for 5 years, but I guess we'll find out. And yeah, now I'm gonna go take this thing for a little drive. But before I do that, I wanna reseal the downpipe. I think when I did the exhaust, I loosened the bolts and I think the gasket might have just, been really old and it just kinda, it has a little bit of blow by. So when I'm driving with the window down, I could kind of smell the exhaust and then I start to smell like the exhaust. So I'd rather remedy this issue than continue to smell like FC exhaust. So what I'm gonna do is just pull the downpipe off, put a new gasket on it, and then reseal it, and we should be good to go from there. And then take it for a little drive and kind of enjoy the Saturday because it's really nice out. It's not too hot and it's not too cold. So it's pretty much a perfect day to cruise a car like this around. Downpipe is now sealed back up. It definitely had some exhaust getting past or seeping past the gasket. So now I shouldn't have any issues smelling exhaust inside the car when the windows are down, which will be really, really nice to actually cruise this thing around. Just cruising the FC down the highway, and it's really nice having all the gauges working. The coolant temp really stays pretty low, and I have good oil pressure, the boost gauge works, and of course the fuel gauge works. So now I'm just gonna keep cruising this thing around. It's pretty fun, and it gets a lot of weird looks. I think it's because of how ratty it looks, and then it has like the bright wheels. But yeah, I really like driving it. So just drove the FC, drove it quite a ways. So I think I put maybe 50 miles on it without stopping and really didn't have any issues. I know 50 miles isn't a lot, but it is the furthest that I have driven the FC, and I really do enjoy driving it. It's just so nice. It's not super fast, but it does have the turbo there, and it really seems like it keeps up with most of the newer cars. I mean, it's not going to keep up with the Hellcat or the Magnum, but it definitely accelerates good. It drives down the highway good. I could do 80 miles an hour without even really thinking about it. And yeah, I just really enjoy how the build came out. There are a few things that I eventually want to do. If I do end up keeping it, I'm probably going to end up painting it, but that's going to be a ways down the road. I really don't want to get this thing into a position where I have to tear the whole thing down, and it's coming, the winter is coming to an end in the next couple months, so I think I'm going to just leave this like it is for the whole summer and for the time being. And once, you know, maybe next winter I may end up painting it, and I'm probably going to paint this. If I do paint it, I'm going to paint it the same color as the FD, which I'm going to end up painting the FD pretty soon. So I'm glad that, you know, I'm glad that I got the custom license plate, and I'm really happy how everything kind of turned out. I mean, it looks ratty. I do want to do the tint. I know a lot of people have been saying, why don't you do the tint? And I just haven't got around to it. So I do want to get it done because I can't see out the back window. I can't see out of the driver's door, and it's kind of dangerous. So we will address that in the next coming videos. Whenever I do the tint, I do want to get taillights for it, and just kind of go through it. And the things that I find, I kind of want to fix as I find them. But I mean, there is no reason to just tear this thing 100% of the way down and just having it sitting like the VR4. I mean, the VR4, I could paint the doors, the hood, the rear bumper, side skirts, and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I need to get a paint booth. So I have been looking at blow-up inflatable paint booths to kind of remedy the issue without having a paint booth. I could just blow it up, paint in it, deflate it, go from there. So that's gonna be the end of this video. Had fun driving the FC. If you like these videos, click the subscribe button, throw a thumbs up, throw a comment below, and as always, see you guys tomorrow.